All right. Just kind of getting a feel for what's going on here right now. We don't. Ooh. Haven't been over here since they started bringing the wire back up. Don't know really what's going on. I'm just going to kind of probe around a little bit. There's a lot of eelgrass over here. So we're just going to probe around, see what's going on. This thing right here might be too deep, or it might be too deep out here to do this, but we're going to give it a shot anyway. We're just looking right now. Just gonna kind of move around. See if there's anything out here. Just, oh, whenever my GPS decided to turn that on, yeah, everything's on. I know there's a bunch of eelgrass out in here. I don't know how deep it is though. That's what I'm gonna look at. And as per usual, my stupid fish finder's not showing me any depths right away. It takes a little while for that to hook up for some reason. We're looking at depth. Well, ooh, 9 foot. That's a little bit deeper than what I want to be fishing this guy. I'm not saying they won't hit it, but this wire came up. See if there's anything out there a little shallower. I have a feeling that with this water coming up pretty quickly, like in the last week or two, on this side of the lake, this top water bite's about isn't going to be as good as it's been. It'll take a little while for the grass to catch up. And speaking of grass, I got some on my bait right now. Oh, there's a gar right there. Let's see if we can get it. Oh, he's spooked. Okay, I'm seeing some grass up here now. What I'm actually going to do is I'm actually going to turn around. I'm going to kind of work down this inside edge, keeping it in view. Working this direction, working back out towards the river. Maybe we can get some on this inside edge. High hopes, low expectations. But we're going to give this a try for just a little while. And we're going to go looking around for some other stuff. It would be nice if this thing would. I'm not sure when my fish finder's not showing any readings up front. Let's see if, let's try that. Let's see if it's something to do with my switch. There we go. Now we got some. Now we're getting some stuff connecting. Just trying a few new spots this evening, just stuff that I've never actually fished this way in this area before ever. So this is all new for me. Just testing some theories, seeing if anything comes of anything. What's up in there? There we go. Now we're connected. Yeah, I'm sitting in 4 feet right up here next to the bank. I got some grass out to my left. This is plenty deep enough, or it's plenty shallow enough rather, for this bait to work. They come up and bust it. You know, if there's anything in here that wants to bust it. Somehow I got some gorilla snot on the surface. That's always fun. But I'm just moving this thing real fast. Water temperature is 84 degrees right here. So this is a bait that generally does better as it gets warmer. I got some gar. And on Saturday, I was having issues with my GoPro. And while I was having issues, I caught a 4 and a 7.9 on back-to-back casts on this thing. So I know it'll catch them. Just want that thing spitting that water across the surface. Move it fast. This is just a real big pop R. Sometimes I'll make a little cast over in some of this stuff if I see something that looks good. See if there's anything hanging out right next to the bank. I got some stuff up here that looks it. This thing's grabbing every little piece of grass that's on the surface, but there's a little isolated spot right there. That's the kind of spot I like, where you run it up there real quick, make a couple little short pops with it. I got some grass, but run it up there real quick, and we got some shade. Never pass up some shade when it starts getting hot and the sun starts staying high. these kind of places on this lake are not really, they're good first thing in the morning a lot of times, and then after that they're not, because the boat traffic gets in here and it seems like it messes them up. Make a couple little short pops with it. I'll run it out of there. Yeah, see all these boat waves coming in here. So we're going to go back over here to our stuff off the bank, where we're kind of following that inside grass line to no success. Okay, I can see some of it right here. Doesn't look like it's very high off the bottom right here, but you know, as you go out, it might get a little bit higher. If I see something that looks really like a big clump that's a little bit higher than everything else, I'll keep it good and honest. Right up here is where you start getting it kind of growing out a little bit more, and usually does a little bit better. But last couple of years we've had some milfoil start to come back here, and I'm not real sure what the best way to approach all that is, and how it's affecting some of the other grass that we've had. I'm just coming out here trying to get a quick topwater bite. And you can do that pretty good with this bait. You can cover a lot of water fast. Seems like the last couple of times I've been out, the best times have been around. I'm gonna kind of push out a little bit. Looks like that grass line's coming off the bank some. Seems like the best time for me is not the last hour of the day, but it's the hour before. So if it gets dark at 8, 7, between like around 7 o'clock, 6:30, 7 o'clock has usually been really good. Now it's getting dark a little bit after 9, so like between 7 and 8 has been my money time for the topwater, it seems like. But you can still get a bite on it even when the sun's high. It's just a little bit slower sometimes. Okay, so we're kind of, we got a little bit of it trying to grow right through here. I'll turn around and make it. I see some bluegill coming up. That's good. Means there ought to be some bass in the area. All right, now we got grass coming back this way, so you know we're just trying to figure out where it's all at. I hadn't been over here. I've actually got a spot marked here. This was kind of a high spot a couple of years ago, but this was when this was a high spot, it was coontail. It wasn't. I think we got milfoil in here now. I don't know. So much crap on the surface. Definitely some grass out there though. We'll kind of stay out for a minute and work it this direction a little bit. There's kind of a little pocket here that got a little bit more depth. It might have a little bit better grass growth. Just been trying to find baits that, I mean, I could probably fish a chatterbait through here real fast or something like that, but I like topwater. I've just been trying to find stuff that I can fish relatively quickly and cover a lot of water that still get good bites. And this is a bait that gets good bites. This is a 3 1/4 inch popar. It's been heavily modified, but kind of so it spits a little bit more than pops. You can pull it through that water real quick, give it a bunch of little quick jerks, and give it a little stop, and a lot of times they'll pound it on that stop. Not while I'm demonstrating, of course, but seeing a bunch of little bitty baits flicking out here. We got good grass. I mean, we got some good depth. Yeah, kind of getting off that good grass now. We'll go up to this little point, and then we're out of here. Over that little shade line first thing in the morning. Normally, oh, there he is. There he is. Not a big one, but oh, he got off. There we go. Got a bite. What am I hung up in here? There we go. Got a bite. Not a big one, but you know, something to let me know we're doing something okay. Always throw back in there if you miss one. That's what I did the other day. I caught that big bass and then I said, well, I'll try to throw back in there, and boom, 7-9. Oh yeah, and then when they get on this point there, it's that grass is kind of coming back out on us, so I need to move out just a little bit. Got a mud boat coming in here, just cruising all in the shallows, just burning up all the shallows. I love it. I don't love it. All right, we're gonna go out here to a little hump, try this thing around a little bit. There. Hey, what's going on, Alan? Thanks for the good luck. We're gonna try, we got one bite, we're gonna try to catch some more, but I'm just trying my little topwater action. I gotta try some other stuff. I got a glide put out in a tube. I'm just gonna kind of look at this. Look at this grass, see if I see anything that warrants that, or if I even feel like it, because I really just enjoy fishing that topwater so much, so I may just stick with that. I see a boat over there. I think it might be anchored down, but there's a boat with nobody in it. No, no, he's out there swimming. Okay. I was a little bit worried about it because I saw it and I was like, well, there's nobody in there. He's out there playing in the water. $384 degrees. So this is a, it's got some depth on it right now, but this is a hump with some, it's got a road bed on it, and sometimes it's always got gorilla snot, but sometimes it's also got some pondweed that grows up on it, and it's, I've caught a few, I've never caught a big one on top water right here, but I've caught some big fish right here. I caught a 9-pounder, caught a couple of 6s. It's just a little, I'm just gonna kind of go right up on it because just, I got it marked, I got the road bed marked pretty good, and then on top of it, it's just gorilla snot. And if there's like a small clump of, there was like a small clump of pondweed when I caught that 9-pounder. And I had seen some guys fishing out here. I was like, what in the world are they fishing? I came out here and looked, and it's just not much of anything. And the first time I came out here, I caught a 9. So I was like, well, big fish get on it. And I think it was about this time of year too. So we're in about 8 foot right here. This thing, this bait can pull them up deep, especially if you got some grass. You know, a lot of times they'll hang up in the, they don't get all buried down in the grass. They'll actually sit on top of some of that. So if you got some grass, you know, if it comes up anywhere near the surface 4 or 5 feet, a lot of times you can catch fish on this thing. Wouldn't that be something to get a 9-pounder right here on top water? One thing I ever caught them here on is a jig and a brush hog, but you know, oh, and a rattle trap, early spring. Not seeing any grass at all to speak of yet. Making a real long cast, just ripping this thing across there. There's a little something off that way. I'll make a cast over there, see if anything. I mean, I don't think this is much different than fishing a spook, but it's just a little different presentation, and it doesn't hurt my arm as much. Fishing a spook all day wears me out for some reason. This doesn't. I think it's because you really have to jerk it to get it to. You really have to jerk a spook to kind of get it to move a lot of times, or some kind of walking bait anyway. But just trying some stuff that don't know anything about what's going on with it. Just trying to take a look, and then we'll go. Next place I know there's some grass on, so we'll hit that pretty good. I'm seeing a little bit of something way out there, but it's not. I think it's just that gorilla snot that I'm always talking about. And it's way, I mean, you gotta make a long cast, and it's 70, 80 feet out there, so. Next place we're gonna go on is a big flat point and see if there's anything hanging out on that. And then we're gonna go to another little area that's kind of it's got a little ditch in it and some other stuff and some grass. I know it's got some grass. Only problem with that fishing out here with this thing is I don't normally do good when I got wave. I mean, if I have ripple, that's one thing, but when I have actual wave action, I don't normally do good with this bait. That's not always the case, but yep. But as always, I'm just fishing my little 6.5 foot medium heavy rod on this thing, 17-pound monofilament. I don't really like braid for it, and I'm not going to use fluorocarbon for this kind of top water because it doesn't work right. I don't like the short rod because it just seems to work better for the way that I jerk the bait. There's another little bitty hump right out in there somewhere, so we're gonna make a couple casts out there, see if anything pops up. And this bait kind of walks a little bit too. The way I've got it kind of set up, it'll walk a little bit, and it just kind of darts and pops and spits, and it's pretty erratic, so it's not that much different than a spook. It's just not quite as mechanical as a spook as far as the action. You don't just twitch to get it to do what you want. It just kind of does, when you really get it going, it just kind of does all kinds of stuff. All right, moving along. Man, I still the biggest. I've never caught a 6-pound smallmouth. The biggest one I caught was 4 3/4, and that's a big smallmouth for down here, and it wore me out. That's a big one. I mean, y'all are really lucky to have that kind of good fishing where you're at. And from what I understand, there's not a lot of people that. I mean, maybe it's changing now, but it used to be a lot. Not a lot of people focused on the smallmouth. They went after all the other better eating fish, or what people think is better eating, like the salmon and the walleyes and stuff like that. Smallmouth are pretty tasty too, but I don't think I've ever eaten one. You know, it's sacrilege to eat bass, but I mean, people eat bass. Doesn't bother me any. I'm gonna put my adventure hat on here. Get that sun off my neck. I didn't bring my buff today. I figured I'd wear this guy. Oh yeah, now we're adventuring. All right, get up here. There's a big flat out here. Right now I'm in 8 foot of water, and it comes up. I don't know exactly how high it comes up. I'll find out in just a minute, but I'm just gonna. Back when all I used to do was fish a brush hog because I was tournament fishing, trying to catch big fish. Used to catch a few fish out here on this thing. Occasionally on a trap, but not when we had grass on our bait. Let me see. Oh yeah, we got a little It kind of shoots way out there. I'm just going to kind of fan cast around a little bit. I'm gonna let the wind kind of just blow me over the top of it, and not going to do anything real specific unless I see something that, yeah, we just went from about, well, it looks like the grass is actually on the other side of us, right on that break. There's nothing up here on top. There's a lot of rock up here on this thing too, so got a real good hard bottom. I don't think this wind is right for this bait, but we're just having fun. So the wind, and then you got all the wave action from the boats. Just don't think it's quite right, but we'll give it a shot anyway. All right, I'm not seeing anything. I know there's some over on that other side where I'm going, but I'm not seeing anything really out here on the end, which is kind of strange. I may have to go back to the old haunts over here and just go over to where I know there's some fish and catch some fish. But I like trying different stuff, seeing if I can find something different. Stuff that maybe people aren't paying attention to as much. Doesn't always work, but sometimes you find some gems. It's quite a bit windier than I thought it was going to be. One of the for me, one of the downsides to this water staying low as long as it has is is all the shallow cover stuff that I usually like to fish. Just isn't. It's just not there. I mean, it's been dry up until a week or two ago. So it's just places where there's usually some pondweed and some emerging hydrilla and stuff like that. It's just, there's not, I mean, it's bare right now. So but we had some other areas that were, I'm seeing some grass now. Had some other areas that were in that. I think the key depth is going to be like 5 to 7 feet. There's a bunch of stuff in that 5 to 7 foot range right now that is that should be prime, especially right now because everybody's fishing those ledges and stuff right now. And then July and August, all this stuff will be growing up. Maybe they'll either still be out on the edges of all the grass that's already out there, or they'll be moving back up on this shallow stuff. Who knows? Nope. That wasn't a fish. That was a messed up bait. This wind's got me messed up though out here. I'm gonna have to adjust, I think, for what I want to do. Fun part about this lake is you go somewhere, it's blowing one direction, and you think, oh, we'll be blowing that on the other side, and it'll be blowing the exact opposite direction on the other side. Fun, I tell you. Fun. But whether we're catching or not, at least we're getting a chance to take a look at it and see, just see what the status is. See where we stand on the grass situation. I'm actually gonna, yeah, do I want to try that? Yeah, we'll go up in here a little bit. We'll zip us up here just a little bit. There's a little weird hole right there. It's always been there. I don't know why there's a hole in the grass, but there is. Sometimes you can have one hit something right there. Not today. I could go inside these islands for, no I'm not. Yeah. Go inside these islands, see if there's any pondweed growing up in there. Kinda. We don't have anything where I'm feeling comfortable by 7 o'clock. I'm just gonna go bug out and fish some of the stuff I usually fish where there's, can usually get some bites over there. Yeah, where you live, Ellen, I don't see why you would eat a bass. You got a lot of better choices for table fare. I don't think they're bad. I mean, they're a little bit stronger than some fish, but I like my fish to have some flavor. I'd rather have something like a mackerel that's got a lot of fishy flavor than a crappie or a flounder or something like that, but that's just the way I am. Yeah, this wind's been blowing. Trying to see if there's any. This is, if you have normal water heights, this is primo pondweed area in here, but not seeing anything. I mean, nothing. Well, let's go hit right over here, and then we got a little bit right there. Got a little bit clearer water over there coming through that little chute. I see some over there. Let's go check this other little chute. I was going to start over here anyway because there's a weird little spot out there, kind of in the middle. That's got, I know there's grass growing out there. Then there's a point. But this little point right here, this little gap between these islands doesn't have anything. Some stuff just out in the middle, but I don't have a lot of high hopes for that middle of the lake stuff. It's only 3 or 4 feet right here, and the grass is just kind of covering the bottom. It's not really growing up at all. But I do see some in front of me, so I'm gonna make a couple casts across it around this opening. Slow it down just a little bit, not full slow, but not like I've been ripping it because this water is just a little bit off. I think this wind's just gonna mess me up on the top water over here, or on the kind of top water I want to fish. I'm gonna go ahead and make as many excuses as I can. Oh, I see some pondweed. Okay. And before I get to it, I'm gonna get out my little I'm gonna get out my frog, have it on the standby if I feel like I need to cast right up in it. Okay. I think that's pondweed, not just some, kind of looks like it might just be pea bubbles over there, but I can't tell. I think it is. I think it's just pea bubbles on the surface. Detergent, if you will. Ooh, I see a good looking clump over there though. I do see some grass right there. No bites. There's some right in here. Oh yeah, I cast right over top of all of it. I didn't really. Kind of got right on top of it by accident, but that's all right. Kind of like this angle, kind of casting out to the deeper section, working it in shallow. There's a little grass line out there. We're just kind of working it across the grass line. Ooh, I need to start turning this way. I'm on bottom over here. Nothing. No encouragement. Work over this heaviest section again and see if maybe something shows up. Slow it down just a hair. This has got a much bigger profile than what I normally use too, so I feel like that's why it does a little bit better to work it fast. But you're going to cut down your bites with this bigger bait. Work it fast, see if we can get something to come up there and no reactions. Keep working down this little, as this is kind of sloping off into a little bit deeper water. Oh, there's another little pile of pond weed with nothing on it. Trying to see if maybe there's some just saw a gar come up, and it's just some different color water in here the way this wind's been blowing through. Work our way up here to this little underwater point. Oh yeah, I see some grass down there now. This is kind of a, some of these stupid waves go away. This is kind of a neat little area in the springtime because it's kind of a funnel into a little area where they spawn, and they'll kind of stack up on the outside of the thing sometimes. And then when they come out, they kind of stack up on it again. So sometimes you can get them coming and going here. Not today, of course, but sometimes. I have caught some nice ones in here. A little bit earlier in the year, though. Usually it's in May. But I was talking to a guy on Saturday when I was fishing. He said, what was it, Saturday? I don't know. But he was saying he caught a fish the other day that the tail was still rubbed out. So I'm sure there's still, I feel like some of these fish, they kind of wait until the water comes up to spawn. I don't know why they're programmed like that, or if it was just a late spawner he caught. I mean, they don't all go at once. So. I mean, it's only a few feet deep right here, so they may be out a little bit deeper. They could be moved up on top of this thing and just ready for a nice big old popper to come swinging by. I don't have a whole lot of, I just don't think it's, sometimes up in here it gets, sometimes it's just not happening up in here. And it could be just a complete wrong lure too. I would not rule out just being the wrong lure choice, but There's some good grass in here, it looks like. No reason there shouldn't be some fish mingling around in here somewhere. Wish I could get a bite just to figure out about how far, if they're up shallow or if they're out just a little bit. I need to be adjusting my cast to a certain depth. We got some good grass in here. I'm gonna dip my rod down there and see if I can get a hold of any. Let's see what it is. Well, I didn't come up with any. A little bit deeper than the old depth finder showing, I guess. All right, we're moving out. Oh. Not liking this wind. Not really seeing what I want to see here for what I'm doing. I'm probably going to end up just having to make an adjustment, but so for the meantime, we're going to keep trying what we're doing. Nothing at stake here, just having a good old time being out on the water. Girlfriend's out of town, so I'm doing what I want to do. Doing a little quick grass survey here. We're gonna breeze through this till we get to that road bed, then we're gonna slow down and fish that thing with a tube. I've never heard of that with deer, but I don't do a whole lot of hunting. That's pretty interesting though. Oops. I'm gonna put my phone on the charger here. All right. And we're gonna keep on with this till we get to where we're going. Got a bunch of hard rocky bottom down through here. Maybe we'll see some pondweed trying to come up. Not real deep, 5 foot max until we get out here. Until we get up here where our road bed is, and then I know earlier in the spring it had some stuff growing on it, so there's a bunch of stuff under the water out here. It's like there's a lot of stuff out here just kind of suspended off of it, like just broken pieces of grass, like a few inches under the water and stuff. Kind of weird. Right there's a little foundation or something that sometimes you can get a bite on it every now and then. Not today, of course. I see some pondweed growing out here, so I'm going to cast just a little bit further out. I just think these fish are going to be just a little bit further out than where you normally catch them, the way this water's been down for so long. I'll take this thing and I'll shoot a cast right down that road bed. If I don't get a bite on it, I'll pick up the, actually I'm probably going to pick up a jig. And I'm going to pick up the jig to start, and then yeah. Get down here and pick up my jig. It's a little bit, have a little bit better bottom contact than I will with the tube. I'm not using a real heavy one. The water's not real deep or anything like that. This is just I think it's a 5/16, kind of a light one. But this is just a nice, just a watermelon or a green pumpkin color. I don't know exactly what they call it, but This. May have to go to the tube if this thing doesn't come through that grass very good. Let that wind blow me back a little bit. Yeah, we got a lot of, might have to go to that tube. Yeah, that grass is already pretty well established out there. What do we got? Milfoil. Just gonna kind of keep it moving, just when it gets in that little gap where the road bed is, where those fish ought to be laying. I keep that grass off of it. Oh man. Oh yeah, I can see that stuff. I can see it growing out here. This is where I got some good grass just growing out here on this flat. I'm just gonna keep this thing moving, just keep popping it. I may have to go to the brush hog. I'm not even sure I've got any with me today. We do have a really good grass line growing up against this road bed, and if this wind wasn't blowing like this and I could fish that top water right over the top of it, I bet I could get one and come up and bust the crap out of it. Of course, I could probably do a little crankbait or something like that. That was real weird. Just lost contact with it all of a sudden. And I'm just gonna hopping this thing through that grass, and then when it gets to that opening, just open one just comes up and pops it. Oh, there he is right there. Oh, big fish, big fish. Oh, really big fish. Holy cow. I don't know what we got. I think it's probably a catfish or something. Holy cow. What have we got? Maybe it's a big old bass. I don't know. Got me down in that grass. I'm not feeling any head shakes. It feels like a catfish. Feels like a big old catfish. Oh, you know? Drum. Weird. Dang. Well, it's not what we were looking for, but it's a big old fish. Let me get my net. Just show everybody I am fishing around some fish. Hooked him in the bottom of the jaw. That's a weird place. But, hey, big old drum. All right. Let's put her back. There we go. A little stinky thing back in the water. I didn't think it was a bass the way it hit it. Just kind of hit it and then took off. All right. Little bitty jig too. Kind of turn the boat because there's some stuff over here I want to cast to. Oh well, got a bite on the old jig. I'll knock myself over trying to hook him. The biggies will do that to you. They'll wake you up in a hurry. I was about half asleep myself. There's some rock and stuff out here. There's some scattered stuff. Now everybody knows I can catch one on a jig. I haven't fished one very much this year. I do like it though. It's a fun bite when you can get on it. Grass is probably a good height for it right now. Should have known it wasn't a bass the way it hit. Hit too stinking hard. All right. Let's put it down and go back to our top water. That's how I do. I catch a fish and then I change baits. I'm just going to kind of fish this all. There's a kind of work this down towards the. This is kind of in between two deeper spots. So I'm just going to keep the boat moving, and there has been a couple of good little grass patches out in here. If you can keep the grass off your bait. Oh, thank goodness we got some jams across the river. little rock pile out here. If I don't get a bite on this popper, I'm gonna throw the jig on it. Oh, this is probably gonna end up being this, or maybe a jerkbait or something will end up being the main bait. See how it goes. Still got some time to mess it up. No bass. A lot of people kind of drag their jigs and soft plastics. I'm a little bit more of a hopper. Just hit some rock right there. There we go. Got some pondweed in there. Okay. That's good. Good to know. Milfoil's taking hold, taking over everything. A few years ago, it was the, in the past we've had better grass under the coontail and hydrilla, I think. Kind of getting off here off the edge of the break and seeing if anything's kind of posted up. What I don't like about milfoil, it doesn't have the same kind of edge that a coontail or a hydrilla does. It just kind of goes and peters out, whereas the other stuff, it kind of usually has seems like it has a little bit harder of a stop. Come on, biggin. Kind of working through here quick anyway, just to. We got some high grass out there. There's no high bass to go with the high grass. Go over here to one of my little pondweed little haunts, and there'll be some fish on that little spot if there's any grass around it at all. Find out in a second, won't we? Oh yeah, there's some grass down there. But are there any bass? Let's sit here for a second and fan cast this little spot. And that's just grass. What have we got? We have got milfoil. All right. Put this down for a minute and pick up my tube. A little Texas rig tube here. No, that's not where we wanted it. Ooh. Bugging out. Should be a fish right there. At least one. All right. Not much cover up there like there normally is. Ooh, backlash. Thing. A little bitty light lure with some heavy line. It doesn't want to work right. Man alive. Thing was deep. Alright. Yeah, we got a little bit of cover right there. No fish to speak of, but we got some cover. Just kind of working that tube. Just doing little small hops. Feeling it kind of work through whatever's down there. There's a little bit right there. It's not much, so whatever's down there ought to have a fish or two. Should be a little pond weed, some grass, maybe a little milfoil mixed in down there. If we don't get a bite on this cast, we're gonna pick up a jerk bait and work down the bank until we get to our little grass area where there should be some fish. Nothing. Very strange. I want to fish that glide bait, but it's just too stinking slow for me most of the time. I just can't make myself do it a lot of times. Especially when I can throw this thing out and just pop it along real quick and cover some water and find out pretty quick if there's any fish in here. Or just pick up some along the way. Shouldn't have as much issue with it hitting the bottom now that this water's up. I just got to worry about keeping all the grass off of it. This is a full-size 110. Just a pro blue. Nothing special. This water's got some color to it though. Where I've been fishing is quite a bit clearer than this is. This is definitely off. I think it's probably because of that wind and all the rain and the water coming up on us. I just kind of let that rod tip just fall. Kind of work that bait for me instead of me having to pop it so much with my hand. Yeah, this has got me a little bit. I am definitely not dialed in over here because I can't figure squat out, or at least I'm not seeing anything that's giving me some good confidence in what I'm doing. Sometimes I can. Usually I like to fish shallow over here, but it's not going to happen the way there's no cover shallow. Nothing. Nope, hit some grass. What did we hit? Pond weed. All right. That's all I needed to see. Let's put this away. Go back to our jig for a little while. Unless it just gets tangled up a little too much. I might have caught a 9-pounder right here before too, but I'm not telling. I gotta change out my trailer. I only got one tail, and I don't do that. Something like that happens, I just go ahead and change it out. Just using on this small jig, I'm just using a Zoom baby brush hog trailer. This is watermelon red. This is watermelon red, but I don't see any red. Yeah, it's got some red in it. I bite the first inch off of it. And that thread on, this is a pretty compact jig, so. Uh-oh. And then I give it a little spritz with my, especially in this darker water, I'll give my tails a little spritz with some chartreuse spray. Oh, stop there. And then we're ready to roll. Fish on the Tennessee River love chartreuse for some reason. So I give them what they want. Did anything on that cast? That was odd. I think it looks like it's off a little bit to the left. We got some good stuff in this little pocket right here. Not sure what it is, but got the boat in about 13 feet of water, and we're just kind of working this jig through this stuff on the break. I get done right here on this edge, and we'll get up on top of that thing a little bit, throw that pop R around, and see if there's anything hanging out on top of that bar in between these two islands. Pretty big depth change here, kind of real shallow, and we're sitting in 15 feet. got a boat coming right out of there. There's an entrance over there that's actually the right depth, and this is super shallow, and he's coming right for us. Let's see what he does. I think I got some grass on my bait. Yeah, I got a little pond. Not sure what that is. Come on, dude, break. Don't go over this. I'm fishing here. And I got a fish on top of everything else. Pretty decent one, too. He's not that big. First bass of the day, right when the boat's about to go right over my spot. Hey, all right, little jig bass. Let's get that hook out of there. Come on, dude. I'm about to have a problem with this guy. I'm about to have a big problem with this guy. Y'all look at this shit right here. There's an entire other deep opening right over there he could have gone out of and not gone right over where I'm fishing. Doesn't know any better. Brand new boater, and he doesn't have stickers on his boat yet. He has no idea where he's going. Actually, he probably does. He's probably going over there to the restaurant to have some Mexican food. Running right over the top of where I wanted to fish. But at least we got one bite out of here. So that's something. What's going on, T-White? Always get to see something new, huh? Well, got one little bite there. And I'm gonna go up on top of this thing and mess around with my top water. I've been known to catch one right here on the top water. And these fish on this lake are pretty resilient. Sometimes you can run over the top of them and it doesn't bother them. Maybe that'll be the case today. when there's some pondweed gets up on this thing, these bass will move all up on top of this. But like I say, it's just been such a weird year. I just don't know. I don't know if that's even going to come to fruition, or if it'll if it's just going to be one of those deals that just doesn't materialize because of the low water that we've had this year and the drought conditions that we had up until pretty much this week. We're just gonna breeze over this since that guy just maybe one will surprise me. There'll be a little bit of pondweed growing up through here, but it's quite a bit deeper, I think. In the past, I've been able to get up here on the shallowest spots on this stuff and catch some fish, but not happening right now. And I'm really not seeing a whole lot of grass right through here either. There's a little bit of actual grass growing up there near the bank. Yeah, that water is really, I don't think that water is even clear enough for what I'm doing. Unless I can find something just right under the surface. I'm gonna get on up here a little bit. I'm gonna put this down and we'll just work some of this stuff with the old jig and see what happens. Alright, we got a little bit of pondweed right here in front of us. Let's see. Kind of got right up on top of it because I don't really know where it grows yet. That'd be a nice deep little, yeah, that's 5 or 6 feet right there. That's a good deep patch of weed. Big flat comes out off this island. Oh, there's another little patch of pondweed. I missed it. First time here. I was looking for it too. But I'm gonna pick this jig back up because I got a couple of spots where it should be growing right now. Ooh, yeah, we got some good stuff right out here. I have to remember this. Just gonna work it out, and sometimes you gotta probe around. I got a patch or two. Yeah, this is way deeper than where it usually grows. That's interesting. I got a patch right out in front of me that usually grows out there, and been known to produce a good fish or two off of it in the past. Let's see if there's anything out there. You can tell I don't think I'm hitting anything yet. I'm hitting some gorilla snot. There's a little spot. Felt like I had a bite there too. And it may have just been the way the boat was turning. Yeah. Oh yeah, he just went right over the top of the thing, man. I mean, it's not. I mean, it's something like. I mean, it's not. It's deep enough to. It's deep enough to do that, but there's an actual deep opening, like a channel that comes out of that thing, and he just, instead of going that way, he just went right in front of where I was fishing. I just don't understand people. All this lake. Oh yeah, there it is. Right in here is where I caught that. I think it's a 610 or a 613 this spring. I got that little patch of pondweed marked. That's why I just pitched it out there, because it's not very far out in front of me. No, on this lake you do never know. You never ever know when you're going to catch a monster. I've had, I don't know how many, probably 15 or 20 over 8 pounds putting my boat on this lake. There he is. So he still got it? That was weird. He hit it and it's running right at me. Little guy. And alive. He got it though. I just felt him just barely tick it. Yeah, I used to go crazy when people do stuff like that to me too, but there's so much of it on this lake, and a lot of times it really doesn't seem to affect the fish too much. because I mean, this, especially this section, you can see there's a gigantic marina in front of me. And I used to be the dog master of this marina, and it's got 360 wet, or it's got more now, but it had 360 wet slips when I was there, and it had another 200 or so dry docking. So that's, that's almost 600 boats that you can keep in there, and about half of them will use it every weekend. It is a busy place on the weekend. There's a Mexican restaurant up there. Very, very busy. So, and sometimes it helps. Sometimes that wave action helps. We had a spot right up here one year, and it produced for like two or 3 months. It was a long time. We won 6 buddy tournaments in a row on that spot and one other spot. And what we would do, we'd come in, we'd drop the boat right on top of it, and it would get them all stirred up, and then we'd turn around, make a cast, and catch fish every time. So, it doesn't always bother them, but it just bothers me that people aren't a little bit more considerate of other people's space when there's a whole lake around and you see somebody working down a little stretch and you're going to go right in front of them like that. It's just inconsiderate. And guys that pull in front of other guys too when they're fishing, that's something that irritates me. But most of the time they're not doing what I'm doing, so not that big of a deal. It's just a little bit of a courtesy thing. All right, we're just gonna cruise down through this little area that doesn't have much of anything going on for it. See if there's any pondweed poking its head up as we roll. Fast pop my little popar. That's pretty cool, yeah. I really like Amigos. I think whatever was there before was kind of high end and it always struggled, but Amigos is always busy. It's got a good location and it's cheap, so that's what they want around here. Not a whole lot of action this evening. We got 2 little bass and 1 drum. I have a feeling we'll get up here just a little bit further. We'll get another bite or 2 though, maybe. I'm hoping. High hopes. This water is definitely, the color is off. I mean, it's got a stain to it. I've been fishing over on the Dallas Bay side, and that water over there is very clear. This water's got a bunch of runoff from the Wolf Teaver, I guess. But I didn't think it looked that bad over by Wolf Teaver, but maybe I just wasn't looking at it good. But as bad as it is right now, at least we're not having to fight the wind with our top water. I don't like having to fight that wind with my top water. What is going on? I got some grass. That was just a regular jig. It wasn't a swim jig. It was just a regular, kind of a finesse. It's a 5/16. Just had a little green pumpkinish looking trailer on it with a watermelon brush hog. Ooh, okay. I see some stuff now. See some stuff to actually fish that I didn't get on top of. Whoa. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to try a swim jig right now. How about that? If it doesn't work, I can't help it. Just a little white swim jig with a Z-crawl on the back. We got some topped out pondweed here, and the water's a little dark. Sometimes I'll fish just a regular swim bait through this. But this water it's not as clear as I like for the swim bait, so we'll give this a try, and if it's too hard to keep the pondweed off of it, we'll change over to it. Yeah, see, this thing's grabbing it every cast. And I'm trying to keep it kind of high in the strike zone too. That's why I like that swim bait, man. That thing comes through this stuff. You can do it with a swim jig too, but it kind of grabs a little bit. Maybe it's just mine, but it's doing okay. I like stuff I can just cast out and reel in a lot. There's a little gar action in there, I see. This is just a little 1/4 ounce one, so it doesn't get all bogged down in there. I keep it kind of high up in the water column a little bit better. This stuff right here gets beat up pretty good though, so I don't normally catch a whole lot of fish right here. I catch some out a little bit, and I'm gonna work that stuff here in a few minutes. But make a few casts here while we're here. Yeah, anywhere you can find a good edge. I was talking about that earlier. Anywhere you can find a good edge for this stuff. Not the pondweed so much, but the milfoil doesn't. It seems like it just kind of crawls down and peters out, but the hydrilla and the coontail really give you a good edge a lot of times. And oh, there's a little. Ooh, that was a bass. I seen him. He didn't come back and hit it. Just disrespecting me like that. He didn't get it good. He was kind of out here a little bit. Some of the stuff that's not quite topped out yet. Probably should come here first while the sun was high, where I could tell where all this stuff was. It's a little bit hard to fish when it's when you got a shadow over it. You can't see what you're doing. Alright, oh, let the top water go. I'm not giving up on the top water. Just gotta pick my moments. hoping we got some out here on this little flat in between these islands. If we do, this thing will catch them. I may need to put that small one on. Well, I'm seeing some stuff on the bottom out there, but nothing's topped out yet over here. I got a couple little markings where it usually grows, so maybe I can get out there and that's where it'll be. There'll be a whole bunch of big ones in there on it. Even though a little ski boat just did drive right through there not too long ago. Ooh, what was that? Usually starts right out in here. Let's see if we're seeing any here in just a minute. It can be like two little different. Try like a little fast pop in here, see if that does anything. While I'm trying to dial in my area. The short answer is no. A lot of times I end up just kind of zigzagging through here and just looking until I figure out where it's growing, or if it's even growing. It may not be right through here the way we got a late start. Get up here a little shallower. Now we got some shallow stuff, little patches of it out here. It's going to be one of those deals where I can't see anything until I'm right on top of it, I think. There we go. We got something right back in there. But did I get a bite on any of it? No. Oh, I see some now. Right in there. I think I'm gonna go to that smaller one. I haven't. Make a couple more casts with this thing and little bit off water. You'd think this little bit bigger bait would be, might help them. What am I doing? Might help them see it a little better. Oh, I like topwater. That's my favorite bait. What I'm using right now, this little popper. This is a I customize mine so that they do some specific stuff, so they spit instead of actually like pop. You can fish them real fast. I mean, I've caught a ton of fish on them. This time of year I like topwater more than anything else. I mean, I like crankbaits and I like jerk baits. Generally, I like stuff that you can fish fast. All right, let's try the smaller one for a little bit. Yeah, anything I can fish real, what in the world? Anything I can fish real fast is what I'm going for. This is just the one I was using was a 3 1/4. They call it a super popper. This one's just the regular, like the regular. I think it's only like 2.5 inches, real light. But you get tons of bites on this thing, and you can fish it when the water. I feel like this water is just a little bit off color for this right now, but so I'm going to try to slow it down just a little bit. But you can fish it really fast when you have some clear water and some grass under the surface and everything. Man, they'll come out and blast it. They'll come up and they'll already have it in the mouth. They'll come out of the water and then dive back down. Then you got them. Especially on Guntersville. I'm going to try to, maybe this weekend, I don't know, but I'm going to try to get back down there. If we got the right conditions, I'm going to go down there and see if I can get this working at all. Yeah, I just don't have this dialed in right now. I'm kind of getting right on top of stuff. I do see some, I mean, and it, like the water's just come up, so I don't know if that's keeping them out a little deeper. I gotta go out here for just a second to look at something. And they were on it last weekend. I caught a 7.9 and a 4.1 on back-to-back casts. Really strange to do that on topwater, but happens that way sometimes. And lucky me, the GoPro overheated, so I didn't get any footage of it at all. Sad day. Let me see that jig. Just look and see if there's any grass growing in this little pocket out here. I had a bite. Don't know what it was, but he bit it. Strange, because I'm not seeing any grass. Nothing there, but quite a bit of it right in there. Nothing right in the middle of that thing. That's so strange. Several years ago, that thing was full of this beautiful coontail. And now it's nothing but gorilla snot. Alright. Back to the shallows. Like these boats have some of this water churned up in here too. It's a little bit muddy over there where the main pond weed usually grows. Trying to fish some of this stuff that might not get quite as much pressure because you can't see it. Well, we got some coontail growing up off the bottom too, right through here. Promising. Just seeing a sprig here and there, but it's growing. Oh yeah. I'm gonna try to stay out off of it when I get up here. I've got some of it marked already. I'm gonna make a few casts out here where it's still kind of shallow and I just know something's gonna hit this fast moving topwater at some point. May not be today though. I think the grass has a little bit more to grow in here. And I can get up in there where some of that stuff's topped out and work that, but I'm gonna go ahead and pull out because I know about where this stuff grows. While I'm going out there, I'll see if I see anything new. I haven't been up here in a few weeks, so if we got some high grass in here, there's a good chance one of them will come up and bust this topwater, but if not, I'll just have to jig around and see if anything shows up. I can see some of it out there. Not topped out, it's just right under the surface. Ooh, you go just a little bit more. There we go. Yeah, I'm gonna fish this outside edge and then I'll move up and move up in there a little and see if anything's interested in the top water, or maybe a swim jig. I did have a bite on that. We got some stuff growing way out here, and that's the stuff I usually like. A lot of guys get up in there where it's tall, and I like it when it's tall. But I also like it when it's kind of obscure and out off the bank a little bit. I have had a few good days right here. I think we got milfoil in there. Just judging solely by how it feels. The only problem is there's no secrets. There's no secrets on this lake. You can't have anything to yourself. So if you find a school of fish, if you're like me and you don't fish tournaments, if you find a school of fish, let's go ahead and wear them out. Because next time you come, they may not be there. If you're in a tournament, probably won't be there anyway. Somebody else will beat you to them. Oh, there we go. Right on the edge of that point of that grass right there, I think. Should have been a fish, but there's not. Oh yeah, there is. Nope, he ticked it, but he didn't get it. Try again. Take two. The grass is nice and high in there. Because something comes through it a little bit better than this jig does. I got in just a hair too close, I think. But that's my deal. I always do that for some reason. Still catch some fish. Nothing. I got out here positioned right and I can't even get a bite. There's some whaling out here too. weird noise in my reel. I think it's in the level wind. Yeah, coontail. Delicious coontail. I've never tried that billows gill. It's just a little too expensive for my taste. Which, for a soft plastic, not for a spend $25 on a jerkbait. But they look like they're really cool baits, and I've been trying to design something similar. There's a I cannot remember the name of the company that makes it, but there's a bait called a Gimme, G-I-M-M-Y. It's a JDM bait. I've been trying to do one of those. I've got a 3D printer. I've been trying to see if I can get one of those and make a mold and see if I can get that thing right, because that thing looks good to me. But they're not real big like that bellows gill. These things are only like 3.5 inches long. Man, that stuff. I need to throw my top water over that. That's top water stuff. I don't care what you say. But I've been trying to design something like that. It's got a little bit different tail on it. But it's not an easy bait to draw. I've got another thing that I'm having one little issue with the mold. But I've got the bait design. The bait looks really, really good. It's kind of a cross between a brush hog and another bait. Oh, there he was. I missed him. There he was. I think it might have been a gar. But it was a bite over the grass. I got in here right on top of it. And I'm just going to stay here. I'm going to turn the boat. And I'm just going to throw down the length of it and see if something... I can do that pretty easy. Throw out here a little deeper and work my way shallower. See what happens. Two years ago right here I did that and I caught one about 5.5. And I got it on camera, but that morning I was running a mosquito. A mosquito hit my camera right in the middle of the lens, and it made my lens look all blurry. Doesn't matter, you don't have to get the footage of it. It's just fun to catch them. I was glad to get a little top water hit though. I'm gonna work in here a little shallower, and then we're gonna go around that next pocket, and that's probably gonna be it for us for today. I've been seeing a little bit of activity up in here shallower, but so maybe they move up in here just a little bit. We'll give it a shot. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time doing this since we haven't been getting very many bites doing it, but right now is when you catch them on it. In my experience anyway. And keep all the grass off of it. Daylight. Probably not, actually. Yeah, we're okay. Let me take these glasses off. Yeah, I have a computer-aided CAD. I have a CAD program, and then the 3D printer has its own software for actually doing the prints. And it does a pretty good job. I haven't really had any. I've had one or two that didn't come out good, but the printer I have it's got some fairly new technology on it, and it's really, really good. You don't have a lot of failed prints with it. It's a resin printer, so I think they do a little bit better than the filament style. All right, we're going out here. There's another little Another little stretch of grass out here that's kind of hiding out. Sometimes we'll have a fish on it. Normally when I fish this stuff, when I fish this kind of grass, I spend a lot more time on it, man, but I'm kind of stretched for time on an evening, so you gotta kind of get in there and get what you can, and if you get it, good, and if you can't, well, it's too bad. I mean, when I fish grass like this, especially in places where I know that they get, I'll spend some time really saturating it and making sure I don't miss any little section of it or anything like that. But today is like I said, I only get like 3.5 hours of fishing time, so just kind of run out, get what you can, and I hope you run into a big one here or there. I'll get that next cast. Yeah, that's what I do with mine. I use a program called Rhinoceros. I don't know if you ever heard of it, but you can take a picture and you can lay it out there, and then you can trace over it if you want, or you can freehand draw anything. I mean, there's a lot of stuff you can do with that program. It's really, really high powered. It's probably right up there with like SolidWorks or something like that. I've never used SolidWorks, but I hear get this backlash out. I hear it's really, really high power too. I think that's what it's called, SolidWorks, SmartWorks, SolidWorks, something like that. But you can do it. Whatever you draw, you can print, as long as you don't have any kind of overlaps or anything like that. And it's real finicky about lines and stuff. If you do a curve that doesn't make sense and it flips over itself or something like that, it's going to give you an error when you go to test it to make sure it's a good part. Sometimes I'll do that. I'll take something off the internet and just use it as the base for my drawing, and sometimes I just draw stuff freehand. It just depends on what I'm making and what I got in my head. I've made a few things, but nothing. The hope is to maybe in the next year or so have five or six really good models of soft plastics that I can actually feel like and make sure that the molds work, and that I could maybe actually turn into a lure company. That's the hope. And some of them will have to be basic ones, you know, that are already out there, just a little bit of a reimagined, you know, stick bait or something. But I've got a few original ideas out there too that are, and that's what I was working on first with that little brush hog deal. It's unique, and there's not really anything else. I mean, there's one other thing like it, but it doesn't do what I wanted it to do. Come on now. So good little clump right there. Oh yeah, big clump. And once again, per my milfoil, per my MO, I'm right on top of it, right off the edge. I don't know what's up with this milfoil coming back. I don't mind, but it just seems like it kind of came out of nowhere. It was gone for years and years and years, and then it came back. I don't know if it's just a deal with something happened and it uncovered all those seeds that were just lying dormant in the ground, or if I don't know. All right, next pocket. Yeah, rhinoceros is pricey too, but I got a little bit of a bootleg copy, so I didn't have to pay for it. But it has all of the functionality. I mean, everything. I usually have this spot pretty dialed in. Let's see what happens. Yeah, I'll check that out. Blender. I don't, you know, the more I do that stuff, I don't have as much problems with the overlapping lines. Problem I have is just having the patience to get the right curve. That's geometrically the right dimensions that I want. Because if you mess something up, I had the problem with my little brush hog thing. If you mess something up, like the tail wasn't right, it wasn't the right thickness or something, or it wasn't the right length, and I had to go back and rebuild the entire bait because I'd already done a union on it. So what I started doing is just layering everything and just keeping every single part that I put together on one of those things separate. So if I just have to go back and do one thing, I can do it. Rhino doesn't. Well, problem with Rhino is if you have something really good and you got something like the legs the right dimension, and then you scale it down, it scales the legs down too, and then your legs aren't the right dimension anymore. Your body will be right, but then your legs won't be, or something like that. This part was good about a month and a half, 2 months ago. Pulled up here and caught some good ones real quick, and then since then, nothing. It's wild how quick these fish, how quick all these fishermen find these fish and just work them over. Not that this is even close to being an obscure secret place, but doesn't feel like there's as much grass as there was before either. And I'm not quite there yet. I had a tick. Not the right kind of tick. Maybe one that's more of a thump. Messed up my little tail. As per usual, got in too close. What do we got out there? What is this? Is it milfoil or is it? I don't know. Can't tell if that's milfoil or coontail out there. Weird, man. Something's messing my bait up. It's coming back and the tails are all hooked in the hook. Something grabbed at that time too, right when it hit the water. Well, oh, just some brim out there. So it must be pretty high. Yeah, it's real high. Definitely coon tail. I'm gonna try my popper out there. Since that stuff's so high. And that wind blew me. The wind blowing me on top of this stuff. I'm not even realizing it, man. I'm so out of practice. What I've been fishing, I hadn't really been my boat position hadn't been as much of an issue. Usually on this lake, the first 2 weeks of June are two of my favorite times. But this year, I think everything's ahead, and it's not working out the same as it normally does. You know, sometimes when it does that, that's when you get your biggest bite. Just keep on plugging. Be all in the pondweed right there, but we're gonna make that cast anyway. We're gonna breeze through this cut right here. No, not that fast. There we go. Breeze through this cut, come out on the other side, see what's over there, and then we're out. Looks like we got some good milfoil up in here. Make a cast or two right up the gut. Looks like I'm losing my light on you. Here, oh, I had a bite. I had a bite. Got it. He hit it again. Holy cow! That thing jumped 4 or 5 feet, and he came back and still got it. He's hungry. There he is. Yeah. I knew I'd get one on the top R4 though. It's no size, but we got one. Ooh. Alright, I got him. There we go. Get that little right before dark bite. Maybe there's another one frolicking around out here. Oop. There's one about 8 pounds in here frolicking. I doubt it, but hope springs eternal. There's some good looking stuff up in here though. A lot of stuff right underneath the surface. Saw something big just do something out there in the middle. Have to remember that in a minute. We'll get up there. And there's some good stuff right up the gut in here. Only one. I'm sorry it's been slow today, guys. Whew, how in the world? It has been slow. I might have to regroup. Some really good pondweed through here. Really good pondweed. Hopefully there's some out off this break when we get to it. Yeah. Now we're getting up here a little bit more where I expect to get a bite. Well, yeah, the bait's fouled up. Well, I thought it was. Right in here, I probably caught 5 or 6 over 8 pounds right in here over the years. And I brought my my buddy's dad and his friend up here, and one of them caught a 9-1. Oh, there! Oh man, that wasn't a big fish, I don't think, but it was a good bite. Well, biting but not getting it. It's these high pressure fish over here, man. They don't like to commit. I started to start over here, and then I didn't. Well, give it maybe 5 more minutes as I go down. I'm gonna pick this bigger one up because I just feel like I need a bigger profile with it getting a little darker. That's some decent. Try a couple of casts right out in there and see what happens. Well, it's just about that time. I'm gonna give it a couple more minutes and then we're gonna call it a day, I think. because I can't see squat. When Bake Shaw was just starting out, we were fishing a tournament, this little evening tournament, and he was out here. He had a little Sea Arc bass boat back then. We were right over there, and he was right in here, and he was throwing over here, and he caught 3 or 4 big fish before we got to him, and I was like, dang it. It's a little funny story. I remember seeing him when I was working in the marina. He caught one that was like 13 pounds flipping a jig in the marina. So he's been doing it a long time. When he was a kid, they don't allow children, I guess, to operate outboards. So his parents got him a boat with a trolling motor, and they troll around in Harrison Bay and over in that marina over there, and they just troll around and flip docks all the time. They did pretty good that way. Kind of interesting. Kind of interesting to have seen how he started up and everything. All right, I think that's it for me. I appreciate everybody coming out tonight. I'm gonna get all these rods put away before I get over there at the boat ramp, because I don't like messing with it when I get over there. And then we'll take a little ride. I'll put my lights up. We'll take a little ride over there and call it. Actually, I'm gonna go ahead and put my one light up. I bought the. Is that right? Nope. I bought the little light that goes on the little running light that goes on the YOLO stick, and I've really liked it. Why is it not coming on? There it goes. I've really liked it because when I go fishing early in the morning and I have to have a nav light on, I don't, before what I used to have to do was take the pole down. I'd have to put the light pole up, and then I'd have to put that light pole up, and then I'd have to take it down when I wanted to set my GoPro up, and it was real inconvenient. And I never knew if I was going to get my GoPro set up right. But this new one, I don't have to worry about that. Ooh, what happened? You just plug it in, it's right underneath the GoPro. Really handy. But it's a slow evening, man. I should have known better than trying to go too shallow. As low as this water's been, and then it coming up all real quick. Should have known those fish wouldn't be up shallow just yet. Especially since there's really not any cover up shallow. That's something that's kind of strange this year. Usually you at least get some pondweed out there that you can work up shallow, and a lot of times that stuff is overlooked by everybody. And I'll go down through there and that's my bread and butter, is catching that stuff. Catching them on that stuff where while everybody's out there working ledges and stuff, I'll be in there just picking them off with a little bitty in some shallow water. Okay. Whew. All right, we got 2 more to set up and then we're ready to roll. And get all my other crap put away. Normally I don't have this many rods out. Usually a rod or 2 guy, and then that's it. Today I used 6 or 7 different baits. Caught fish on 2. All right, that's coming off. Our rods are put away. And get my yeah, no problem, Salt King. I almost beat Jacob Wheeler one time. Almost. I had a fish on that would have beat him. And again, it was just one of those Harrison Bay tournaments. It was one of those one that got away stories. But you know, that's pretty cool too. I really believe, I'm a really good fisherman, and I've been doing it a long time, and I really believe that if I'd had the financial backing and if they had high school or college sports or college fishing when I was that age, I would probably be a professional fisherman right now. The opportunity just wasn't there, and I didn't have the financial backing to go out, and I'll leave that up till we get to, to go out there and go on tour and fish those opens and all that stuff. And I might not have done well. Might not have done as well when I was younger, but I definitely could have held my own when I was in my 30s. When they came out with side imaging and GPS, I already understood. A lot of people don't even forward-facing sonar guys, I think, don't understand what I would call structure fishing, because they're not really doing it. They're just following fish around. But a lot of those guys, they don't understand structure fishing and how to set up on different pieces of cover and how to find where fish are positioned on pieces of cover. They just don't know how to do it. Need my front light. Uh-oh. Front light's not wanting to work. That's not good. I don't know if that's a bulb issue or what. I'll troubleshoot that. Anyway, all right, we're heading home. Yeah, a lot of people complain about that, the forward-facing sonar stuff. Even before that, people were staring at their screen. For years, people have been doing that to structure fish. But it's a different game, and it completely takes the fun away from it for me. When you can see the fish moving, you can see your bait. It's not really. I don't understand how it has a place in professional fishing at all. If you're somebody that's never fished and you just want to feel a fish pull your line, or maybe doing some offshore stuff, But in bass fishing, I just don't think I have a place. All right, folks, I'm heading in. Y'all have a good night. Thanks for joining me, and we'll see you next time.